All right, today we're jumping straight into a really deep and fascinating analysis of a chapter from the Qur'an, Surah Al-Jinn. We're going to be looking at it through the lens of a rigorous theological breakdown by Ayatollah Javadi Amoli. This isn't about surface-level meanings. We're going to explore the nature of the unseen, clear up some major misconceptions, and really get into the nuance of it all. So, here's how we're going to break this down. First, we have to lay the groundwork and talk about the actual existence of the jinn. Then, we'll get into a huge theological point, the true identity of Iblis, which might surprise you. From there, we'll define what the term shayateen really means. Then we'll zoom out to the cosmic level to see how revelation is guarded. And we'll wrap up with a powerful look at truth, falsehood, and what constitutes the ultimate lie.
Okay, first things first. Before we can get into their role or their story, we have to answer the most basic question. What exactly are the jinn according to this analysis? Because really everything else we're going to talk about is built right on top of this foundation.
Now, the analysis is crystal clear on this point. The jinn are not just some metaphor for our inner demons or, forces of nature. No, they are presented as a completely distinct species, a creation existing parallel to humanity. And here is the absolute key. Just like us, they have free will. That means they can choose, and because they can choose, they are held accountable for their actions. The theological term for this is mukallaf. They are responsible beings. And the proof for this isn't buried deep in some obscure commentary. It's right there in the very first verse of the surah itself. This isn't an interpretation layered on top. It's the source text. This single verse confirms their existence, their ability to think, and their capacity to hear and understand divine truth. They listened to the Qur'an and were amazed by it. So, this understanding of the jinn leads us directly to one of the most critical arguments in the entire analysis. It takes on a story that almost everybody knows, right? The story of Iblis, or Satan, as a fallen angel. This is the big question. That narrative of the angel who fell from grace has been around for centuries. It's incredibly widespread. But this analysis takes a forensic look at the scripture to completely dismantle that idea and show us who this figure really is. And the answer is right here. It's an explicit statement from another chapter, Surah Al-Kahf. The Qur'an doesn't hint at it, it doesn't imply it, it says, flat out, he was of the jinn. This isn't a matter of interpretation, it's a direct scriptural classification. And that's a game changer, because it means his rebellion wasn't a malfunction. It came from a nature that was created with the capacity to rebel. And this table just lays out the difference so clearly. According to Islamic theology, angels are created from light. They simply do not have the ability to disobey God. It's not in their nature. Their very essence is obedience. Iblis, on the other hand, is a jinn, created from fire, and the defining trait of the jinn is free will. So his disobedience wasn't a fall from some perfect angelic state. It was a choice made possible by the very nature he was created with. Now, what's so powerful here is you're seeing a piece of the original analysis itself. You can see just how meticulous and evidence-based this approach is. It's not based on folklore or assumptions. It's a rigorous argument, separating these categories by grounding every single claim directly in Scripture. Okay, so building directly off that crucial distinction, the analysis clears up another term that gets misused all the time, shaytan. That's the plural of shaitan, or devil. We often use jinn and shaytan as if they mean the same thing, but as we'll see, that's a major misunderstanding. So think of it like this. Shaitan isn't a species. It's a job description. It's a title that's earned through rebellion and evil. It describes a type of behavior, a function, not a specific race of creatures. Let's break it down nice and simple. Jinn is the name of the created being. Shaitan is a label you get for being a rebel. So, can a jinn be a shaitan? Yes, absolutely. Iblis is the textbook example. But, and this is crucial, a human being can also act as a shaitan. And just as importantly, not all jinn are devils. Let's not forget, this whole surah kicks off by telling us about jinn who are righteous believers. Okay, so if we've got these different unseen beings flying around, some good, some rebellious, it raises a pretty obvious question. How is something as critical as divine revelation kept safe from interference? Well, this analysis of the surah gives us a fascinating look at the cosmic security system. The text describes a massive shift, a complete change in celestial protocol. Before the Qur'an was being revealed, it seems the jinn could sort of hang out on the fringes of the lower heavens and pick up bits and pieces of information. But once the final revelation began, that access was completely and totally cut off. The heavens went into lockdown. And again, the evidence for this comes directly from the jinn themselves. They are the ones reporting this change. They say, hey, we used to be able to listen in, but something's different now. If anyone tries, there's a burning flame waiting for him. This is their testimony to the absolute protection and integrity of the divine message. And all of this builds to our final and maybe the most profound point in the analysis. Once we understand the reality of these beings and the sanctity of revelation, the surah zeroes in on what it considers the absolute worst kind of lie. So this is where it all culminates. The ultimate transgression isn't just telling a lie. It's the specific, incredibly audacious act of making things up about God, attributing partners to him, inventing laws in his name, twisting his words. According to this view, there is no higher form of slander. This testimony comes from the believing jinn, and you can almost feel their sense of shock. After they hear the pure truth of the Qur'an, they reflect on the deep lies their own foolish one, who is almost certainly Iblis, had been spreading. And they don't just call it a mistake, they call it an excessive transgression, a profound distortion of the very nature of reality. And really, that's where we'll leave it. Because what this kind of deep textual analysis does is it pushes us beyond the simple folklore and popular myths we might have grown up with. It proves that a truly forensic reading of Scripture can completely reframe our understanding of the unseen world, challenging us to replace those easy assumptions with a much more complex, evidence-based theology. It just makes you wonder, what else do we think we know that a closer look might change completely?